Yes, we're on the day with Motherwell's greatest ever striker. I'm giving you that, mate. You take that?
I'll take it, but I'm not sure about it.
The reason I'm going to give you that is because 38 goals over 2.5 seasons. Not only that, but you and Ryan Bowman put 20 centre-halves in A&E as well.
Apparently so.
And I need to say as well, by the way, Preston must be giving him a few quid. I'm loving the trainers.
A bit better than them, aren't they?
Gear gets caned on you. Right, we'll go on to the old career, mate. You faced Stoke. So growing up in Stoke, and then did Stoke pick you up?
Basically just playing for local lads and dad's side around the corner from my house. Fortunate enough, there was a scout there one day. I think I was actually in goal, honestly, and then an outfield player got injured. I ended up going up front, and I scored a couple of goals in the space of a couple of minutes, and then that was it. I never played in goal since. I was about 8 or 9.
Must have been a strange kid if you wanted to play in goal.
Very strange. I'm not changed. But that's the way it happened. And then I had a trial at Stoke, under 10s, I think it was. And then just, I was there for about 6 weeks and they weren't sure. They really weren't sure. Ended up just turning up. They told me to go home. I said, "No, come again, thanks." Ended up just going back, and then eventually I got I think it was a 1 year or something, and then just carried on and carried on.
So you were in for that age, 10-year-old?
Yeah, 10 up until I was 20 when I left.
And you were always a striker? Always enjoy that?
Yeah, there was periods where managers had to they were trying to play me midfield and what have you, and I was having none of it. I was like, no, I want to play up front. Well, So I was like, no, I want to score the goals. I was always been that kind of character, always wanted the glory, as they would say.
So did you go full time when you were 16?
Yeah, left school, went in the youth team straight away. I was quite lucky actually. I think my first year did okay. I think under 16s and that I was playing for the youth team, so I was playing up. Right. And then my first year, I managed to get on the bench for the first team or what have you. Wow. In the Premiership.
Did you?
Yeah, I think what happened, Tony Pulis had a few falling outs, should we say, with a few of the senior boys, and then that left a space for me. And out of nowhere, I'll never forget it, he just said, "Oh, you're involved tomorrow." I was like, "Involved with what?" And that was it, I was on the bench. Wow. And then,
so had you been training with the first team in that?
Yeah. It was,
at 16?
Yeah, 16, 17. I was always, if they needed one player, it was go get Louis, go get Moult.
So he must have liked you, Tony Pulis?
Well, the only way I knew he liked me was he called me by my name. Every other kid was Young'un. I've never heard him say another youngster's name other than Louis or Moulty. And I thought, why does he just say my name? And then that's how, it just progressed from there, really. And
how did you find training with those players at such a young age? Because they're big players at the time, eh?
I got kicked here, there and everywhere.
By who would have been the ones? Shawcross?
I always remember, because Pulis is very, very particular. He does the same session quite a lot. He's very organised. Yeah, same hat. And all we used to do was 11v11, and I'd be up front against Robert Hoof and Shawcross, and they used to just bang, bang, bang every time. Hoof was the worst.
Was he?
Hoof wouldn't care how big, how old I was. He would just kick me, just smash me from behind. Blatant free kick. And I was a little boy. Do I appeal for a foul there, or do I just got up and just tried to get him back?
Who would have been the strikers then in the first team at that time?
I think the strikers, Crouchy came, but that was a bit later on. The one that I always looked up to, and Ricardo Fuller.
He played up in Scotland.
He was up at Hearts, wasn't he?
Big boy,
what a player.
Was he?
What a player. He was a Stoke hero, still is. Right. His ability was a joke. A bit of a loose cannon off the pitch. I had a few nights out of him. But lovely person. But yeah, it was him. There was Mama Sidibe, that was 6'5", strong as an ox. And then Cameron Jerome, Peter Crouch, Tunjai, the Turkish international.
He done well there, didn't he?
I had a good Johnson come at one point.
Oh wow!
So I was looking up to all these professionals and learning my trade from them, and it was brilliant for myself.
Would they guys help you? Bits of advice?
Yeah, they would. They'd always try and give me little bits of advice in training. I mean, sometimes you wouldn't have to say anything. I always think as a youngster, you learn a lot just from watching and being around these people. But the pros there were really good towards me.
Good. See, just on Tony Pulis, could he go mad at her?
Yeah.
Even at a young lad of you, or was he more?
Not massively, no. he didn't really get involved with the youngsters. It was.
But if you were up in training with the first team and you weren't doing it, would he let you know?
So he wouldn't dig you out because
No.
he knew you were a young lad, and he'd probably just go quiet, and that's when you'd know, because other than that he's just shouting. So if he went quiet on you, you'd know you'd had a bad touch or something like that. So he was quite good towards youngsters really, but he was more focused on first team.
Yeah. What's the maddest you've seen him go with a first team player?
It was a few times, to be fair. I mean, I was on the bench, I think it was 11 times when I was on the bench. And because I was so young, it feels like it didn't happen. I've almost forgotten it. It was like a dream. It was weird. But I've seen him, I've heard stories about him, and there's the James Beattie situation where it was the headbutt and the naked shower and all that. I'm sure that's well published, which I never really got down to the real story. I wasn't in the changing room, but there was a few scenarios like that.
Right, okay. So playing with the first team on the bench and stuff like that, when did you decide, I need to get on loan, I need to start playing games?
Well, I didn't really decide that. He decided that for me. I think it was my first year pro. Yeah, so my second year apprentice, I was in and around and on the bench, and I made my debut in the Premiership. And then the season finished. I think he spent some money then. I think he gone and bought a couple of strikers. I can't remember who. And then it was pre-season. I went Austria with him, running up hills like that, which was entertaining. And then he just pulled me in one morning. And then, as you are as a young lad, I'm nervous. I think it was.
Was that the first time in the manager's office?
Kind of. He didn't really get me in the office. He just spoke to me in the gym or walking past me. And he called me in. He was in the gym, and he just said, "I've had Peter Taylor on the phone. I think it'll be good for you. I want you to go on to Bradford for 6 months. I want you to go." I didn't really have a say in the matter. I was like, right, okay. Didn't have a chance to go, I don't want to go, or stuff like that. That was it, I was gone.
And you just done what the manager told you about?
Well, he was the man in charge. I'm a youngster, man in charge. He went, yeah, all right, then sound.
See, just on the debut, talk us through the debut. Did you know you were coming on? Were you warming up?
Didn't have a clue. I was on the bench a few times, and I made my debut in the League Cup, I think it was, against Leyton Orient about a couple of weeks before. Went to extra time, so we ended up playing a little bit more, actually. So I was buzzing with that. And I think they were in League 2 or League 1 at the time. But the Premiership debut, Burnley away, I warmed up a few times. I think I'm never getting on, don't worry. I'm nervous anyway. I've got butterflies and what have you. And I think it was the last 10 minutes, he just turned around and went, "Louis." I was like, I didn't move. I was just like, he had to say it a couple of times. I was like, "Oh, me." So I just got up and I was just ready to go on. And didn't start running.
Brilliant.
It was just all a blur, a blur.
Thinking of your appearance bonus as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think we drew, so I got a little bonio.
Decent, eh? Was the family in that there?
No, because it was away, and it was a night game. I think it was like a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night. I just remember getting off the pitch and all the first team boys coming over to me and shaking my hand, saying, "Congratulations, no one can ever take that away from you."
Great feeling, eh?
I didn't expect it. I thought, the professional players, they won't care that I've just got on. They're all coming up, "Louis, congratulations, keep working on," and stuff like that. And I was like,
top man, eh?
I was like, oh.
And did Pulo say anything after your debut?
Yeah, just same, shook my hand and said, "Keep working hard, keep doing what you're doing," all them kind of things. Really.
There'll be more of this to come.
Yeah.
Lying bastard.
Yeah, release me a year later.
So I think five in total loan moves.
Yeah.
Is that quite unsettling for you?
Yeah, very. Such an up and down career, really. Especially for the early part there, it was difficult. Bradford didn't work out.
Why not?
Honestly, I don't think I was ready.
No.
I do not. I was 18.
Play every week.
I was 18, playing in League 2, 6'2", 6'3". Peter Taylor didn't play football, it was long ball. And I understand that that's most of what League 2 teams did. And to be in that team, I had to be 6'5", or I had to be rapid, and I'm neither. So I just didn't fit in, and I ended up playing on the wing. I'm not a winger, I'm a goal scorer, and it just didn't happen. And then I ended up cutting that loan short after 5 months. I hated it, absolutely hated it.
Was it hard to mingle with the boys and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, really hard, because I wasn't playing, didn't feel part of it. I was living up there on my own, away from family, first time away from home. Just couldn't get into it. I mean, Bradford, great club, great fan base, You know, fans were decent towards me.
Valley Parade's decent.
Yeah, very, very good atmosphere. It just didn't work out. Then I ended up going to him and saying, listen, what's going on here? And then he said, right, you can go back. So, because
I always ask the boys that come on, do you think going on loan's a good thing? But would you say it's more when you're ready, you should go on loan?
Exactly that. I think now when you know the boys are going out on loan, I think they're 20, 21, 20. You know, because it's all different now. You've got the under 23s, the under 21s. Back then, I didn't have a reserve side. It was youth team, pro. So you straight with the first team. We got rid of the reserve side, so I wasn't playing. I was just literally training Monday to Friday, and so I had Saturday, Sunday off most of the time.
And because you're doing all right in training, you think you're ready to play ahead.
I was chomping at the bit. Yeah, I was thinking I just need to play. I need to play. I need to play. But looking back, I wasn't ready. I was 18. I was like that. I was just getting absolutely moved out of the way off everyone.
The lower leagues are.
Oh, they're brutal. Brutal. Hard, brutal. Very, very hard. I think now I'm more equipped to that situation and I'd be okay. I think, you know, coming up Scotland's helped me with that. Playing in the conference helped me with that. Do you know what I mean? So, like you mentioned with the loans there, I went to Bradford and I can't remember where. I think I went to Accrington, Mansfield.
Glamorous.
I just couldn't get going. I honestly couldn't get going. It was really, really strange. And then a couple of injuries which didn't help. But I think ultimately you have to look at yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror and you say, was I ready? Was I good enough? And ultimately I probably wasn't.
So what one got you going? Wrexham?
Yeah, it was strange. I got released. That was a weird situation. I was in training every day and me and Pulis got on because he'd given me debut, so I respected him and, you know, and I was a little bit of a golden boy there. You know, like I say, he only knew my name and stuff like that. And then my contract was coming to an end and people were saying, what are you doing next year? I was like, I don't know. You're just so relaxed about it when you're young, aren't you? You're just like, I don't know.
Just assume you're going to get another deal.
Yeah. And I had to ask him a couple of times, like, Gaffer, you know, what's happening? And he just kept saying, I'll speak to you tomorrow, I'll speak to you tomorrow, I'll speak to you tomorrow. And I never actually spoke to him until probably one of the last days of the season. And he got me in and to this day, I don't think he released me. He kind of just, I don't know, he was just like, really like you, really think you're a good player. I think it's a good time for you to move on. But never said the word release. And I'm thinking, I'd come out of the meeting, I think, have I just been released? did that just happen?
And do you hold that against him a wee bit?
No, I don't know. You know,
do you think it was the right decision?
Yeah, because I think if I was still there and I was just training and going out on loan here and there, you know, I'd probably keep going on loan and keep failing and what have you. I needed to go and earn my living and understand what it took to earn a living, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I took everything for granted. I think a lot of people do that.
You just think you're a footballer, but you're not.
Yeah. I had everything on my doorstep. I was from Stoke. I'm from Stoke. I walked to training. I walked home. Didn't need to drive. You know, I needed to pull my finger out, basically. Yeah.
How was that feeling, getting released for a big club like Stoke?
Horrible. It took me a couple of weeks to get around it. Really did. What I always say to people that, you know, play football and, you know, whatever they do, always believe it. Believe in yourself, you know, because you'll have people that doubt you along the way, but you've got to try and prove people wrong. I mean, you get that in every work of life, every day of life. Do you know what I mean? It's up to you. You know, you've got to find a hunger and you've got to have the right mentality.
Was there a wee thing to prove Tony Pulis wrong as well?
Yeah.
Is that coming at you?
Still got it.
Yeah. Is that okay, yeah?
Yeah.
To get back up to the top?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So after being released, what was it, trying to find a new club?
Yeah, well, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I had to start working with my dad because I didn't have any money.
Doing what?
Painting. I've just been looking at here, this could do a lick of paint. But I was trying, I wasn't doing it not very well, that's for sure. I was only doing it every now and again. So I couldn't get a club. I was ringing my agent, saying, you know, have you got anything for me? Got nothing for you, keep ticking over. So I just kept ticking over myself more than anything. And I got to the stage where I was just ringing around myself because you never actually know whether the agent's doing the work for you. So I always think, you know, when youngsters are in this situation, now pick up the phone yourself. The manager would like to hear your voice, not your agents, not your brothers, not your dads. Pick up the phone, have that hunger. So I ended up doing that. Got in touch with another person who knew Adi Boothroyd. He got me a trial. I ended up going on trial, scored in the friendly or what have you, and he offered me a deal. And I did 1 year there. That didn't work out. Yeah. And then ended up going on loan to Nuneaton. And then, again, didn't work out. Scored 1 goal in 17 games, conference part-time. But I was playing. I enjoyed it. I was actually enjoying my football. I was playing week in, week out.
But were you really worried for your career when you're only scoring one? Yeah, you were.
Yeah, absolutely bricking it. Not going to lie to me, but it was frustrating because I was playing well. We were in a relegation battle in the conference, and I've got to take my hats off to the gaffer at the time, Kev Wilkin. I remember him pulling me in one time, and he just said, "I know you're not scoring, but you're playing ever so well, and you're making the other striker score." And I said, well, "Okay, fair enough." So he ended up we stayed up that season, and I got released from Northampton, and then I had nothing again, and my only lifeline was Nuneaton. They were the only team that wanted to touch me, and I was no point of holding out for anything else. I just signed. I just went, yeah, done, job done. And thankfully, I scored the first game of the season, the following season, and went on and scored 18 goals. And then I got a move to Wrexham.
Wrexham.
The same manager that believed in me and took me on loan at Nuneaton went to Wrexham. So he took me with him. So
that's it. Sometimes you just need to take a step back to take a step ahead.
Exactly that. I started to appreciate life, being a footballer. I knew how hard I had to work. Something just clicked. Something clicked. I think off the field, I started to take things a lot more serious. My missus fell pregnant. It just switched. I just thought, I need to, be serious about this now. And I really, stopped going out, really gym all the time, working hard, extra training, and I've carried it on throughout my career now.
And do you think that wouldn't have happened if you had not had these setbacks?
No. Because I think you take things for granted. You take things for granted. Sometimes you need that shock to kickstart your career.
I've actually played at Wrexham at FA Cup first minute. Big striker Taylor. Remember him now?
No.
Big striker. Ball came to me first minute, played back, and he just came and absolutely smashed it. But it's a lovely stadium and it's a big club, innit? Yeah. How did you enjoy it?
Absolutely love Wrexham. Lovely place. The fans were unbelievable towards me. I had a great time there, and I was very, very lucky. I hit the ground running, scored 23 goals that season, and then ended up getting my move to Motherwell.
See that living right, eating well, going to the gym, what does it change in your game? Just make you fitter, or is it the mental side and everything?
I think mentally. I've never been one to eat exactly what they tell you and all that. Last night I had a couple of chocolate bars, I had a takeaway. Do you know what I mean? I think you've got to find what's right for you as an individual. What isn't right for me was going out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. That wasn't right for me. Hence why my career just went like that. Yeah. But then when I stopped that and I started to take it more serious, my career started to do that. So, I think you've got to find what's right for yourself.
There you go, young kids watching this. There you go. So when did Motherwell's interest first come about?
It was a strange one, really. My agent mentioned it. And I always think as a player, when an agent mentions something to you, I take it in, but I don't. I think about it for about half an hour, and then I'm like, it's gone, because you know how much your name gets branded about, and
well, not really, man. I understand what you're talking about.
And there's rumours here and there, and there's an agent ringing you saying these want you, or an agent I've never spoke to in my life rang me and said, oh, these want you. Oh, who are you? Do you know what I mean? That's what happens. That's the game we're in. But it was a strange one. I was on holiday. I was in Tenerife, and I turned my phone off because I had a long season. I turned my phone off. I had enough. I was with the kids, and I had only one kid at the time, and we were away, and we were away for a week. And on the way back, I put my phone back on. I think it was when we landed, I put my phone on, so I didn't look at my phone for a week. So I've turned this phone on, and I was about 25 missed calls from my agent. I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happened here?
Man United.
No, Barcelona. So I rang him straight back. I said, well, you're all right. It was early hours in the morning. Listen to a voicemail. The voicemail was, Louis, you need to ring me back. Motherwell's put a bid in for you. It's been rejected, but I think they're coming again, blah, blah, blah. Missus is sat next to me. Her mum and dad are in the taxi as well. I've gone, you never guess what. And you're like, what, Scotland? You're like, no. Because we'd literally just bought a house, mine and Carly's house, our first house with a newborn baby Isla, and we just moved in. We were in a week. And then this call comes, and we could be going to Scotland. She was like, and her mum, you know what mums like with the daughters, they don't want them to go anywhere, do they? She was like, no, you can't go up there, you can't do this, you can't do that. I went, hold on, let's just have a breather here. Let's have a little think about it. So I rang my agent, and it's been accepted. We're going up tomorrow morning. So I got back from holiday. The next morning, 6 o'clock, set off to come up to Scotland and have a look round and negotiate a contract, and that was that.
Was there any thought to saying no?
I went home. It was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday. We came up. I went home, and by the Sunday I signed. I said, yeah, I'll come.
Why was that? What did you like about it?
It's a challenge, something. If I'm honest, my missus played a big part in it because we were getting settled in this new house. I was enjoying life at Wrexham, scoring goals. The money weren't, that much different because I was coaching for Stoke at the time as well. Stoke let me coach for their academy, and I was, the money there weren't much in it. And my missus turned around to me and just said, you might not ever have that opportunity ever again. Like, we need to go. As soon as she said, we need to go, I was like, yeah, I'll go.
So the moral of the story is your missus wears the trousers, huh?
Well, my missus tells me everything what to do. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
Did you know much about the Scottish game?
No. Never been to Scotland. Never watched a game. Oh, I watched the Celtic, the Rangers and stuff, stuff like that. But never came up here and what have you. And it was an eye-opener, that's for sure. It was an eye-opener, it was.
Ian Barraclough signed you. What was your first impressions of him?
Straight away, instant respect because, he found me.
How did he find you? Did he tell you that?
Yeah, he did actually. He said he watched me when I was playing for Stoke in a reserve game. When they did have a reserve game, I think I was 16, he said. And Ian Barraclough had a weird thing of jotting down players, and he had a folder like this, and he kept it in his office. And he showed it me, and he said, there's your name for when you were 16.
Wow.
I said, fair play to you.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I've got a folder like that with Bird's numbers.
Class.
So yeah, you got Ian Barraclough for sack. No, but were you a bit disappointed September he got sacked?
Yeah, I'll never forget because I was doing all right actually. I think I just got in the team because originally I wasn't in the team. And I gradually got myself into the team, and then we were at Moult away in the cup, and Morton beat us, and he put me on the bench, and I was on the bench for that game because I assume he was resting me. Well, I think it was. I just got dropped. But I come on and scored, but we lost, and then the day after he got the sack, and that was that. And, I've spoke to him since and what have you, and I've always said, thank you for bringing me up here because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't probably be up here.
See, when you first came up and you weren't playing, how frustrating was that?
Very, very frustrating. It's one of them. I wasn't settled. I was still living in a flat, and I needed to get the missus weren't up. I just had a newborn. She was 6 months, Isla was. And when you've had a newborn, you just want to spend every minute with them. And I was on my own, and I was frustrated. I wasn't in the team. And I remember Stephen Robinson, the gaffer now. I'm always one for putting the work in. I'll always do an extra session, do a gym session, run or what have you. I've always been like that, probably because what happened at Stoke. And he came up to me and said, keep working hard, your time will come. And once you hear that from a member of staff or a manager, it spurs you on and you carry on, and it gives you that little bit more hunger. And the other striker, Wes Fletcher, got injured and I was in. And from that day, I never looked back.
See, when you weren't playing, would you go and see the manager?
I never did at that point because I think it was 3 games, and they did all right. I think they won. I think they beat Inverness away, and then St Johnson or something, and then we played Hearts, and I played against Hearts, and then I stayed in the team since then. But it was more getting settled, and I got settled soon as I started. I think as soon as you start playing, you settle more anyway. And then the missus came up, found a house. She was settled, Littland was into nursery, and everything just fell into place. Party time.
Mark McGee got the job. What was your first impressions of the big man?
I didn't know how to take him, to be fair. He was very straight-faced. I think he spoke to the older boys a bit more. He didn't really speak to, us. He did speak to us, but not as much as, Big Mick or Hammy.
Was that a worry for you?
A little bit, yeah. I remember when he came in, he was experimenting, and I was on the bench, and I think I must have been on 8 goals or something by the time he came. And I was on the bench, and then I remember we played Kilmarnock, and he put me on for 10 minutes, and I got the winner, I think. It was on Isla's birthday, so I'll never forget that one. Halloween. Oh, it might have been my missus' birthday, so I could have forgot that one. But I remember playing in that game, and then he started me against Aberdeen the week after, and I did well. And then he pulled me in the office and said, I'm experimenting. I played you. I know what I can get from you. You're not going to play with next week, but I know what I'm getting from you. I need to have a look at the other strikers to see whether I'm going to keep them. So I understood that. I always think if a manager speaks to you, I understand. I understood that point. So
but was there also a side where I've just scored, I want to play again?
Yeah, 100%. I was like, give me a run. I want to carry on. But I understood that point. So I got on quite well with him. He was very old school. He got me very fit, I'll give him that.
I've heard these pre-seasons.
Oh, brutal.
What sort of stuff? Just long forest runs and all that?
Old school running. It wasn't even pre-season. When he first came in, we didn't have a day off for 3 weeks. We were in every day. And
do you think that the team needed that?
Yeah, we did, yeah. And we were, our week was, we'd be in Monday, run, we'd train Tuesday, but running as well. And the running, horrendous. Fartlek. W run, I used to love a W run. There was a pitch run, horseshoe, and this was whilst one group would be training, one group would be running. Then you'd train, then you'd run, then you'd train, then you'd run. And it was relentless. And then we'd be in again on the Wednesday, probably do a top up. We'd be in every day, but we started to win.
Brilliant.
I mean, it worked. It did actually work.
It was needed. You'd mentioned the older players. They're a good standard. Scott McDonald, James McFadden, Steve McManus, Stephen Pearson. Was the standard of training really good? Because they're good players.
Yeah.
Was it noticeably better than Wrexham?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a step up straight away. Massive step up. I think the one thing I noticed was the tempo, the speed of play was ridiculous. I remember coming in pre-season and I had about 6 weeks off because down south you have more of a break, and these only had, because they were at the playoffs, wasn't it, with Rangers. I think they had a week off or 10 days off. And I come in, training, and I couldn't keep up. I said to the gaffer, I said, you're going to have to manage me here. I've had 6 weeks off, they've had 10 days off. And to be fair, they looked after me. They did look after me. And Laz was steaming past me and I thought, I'm not right, he's got grey hair.
He's 37.
I'm not right, I need an extra week here.
Brilliant. Who impressed you, all the players? Who was a couple that you thought he's a right good player?
All of them. Honestly, I remember doing possession with him, and Big Mick stood out for me.
Steve McManus, yeah.
I remember him just whipping the ball into my feet with his left foot, and I went, deal with that. And I got used to that eventually when I was playing with him, but I come straight from conference to this SPL, and I knew who he was anyway, and he wrapped the ball in so hard, and he expected you to deal with it. That's what he's used to. He's played with these fantastic players, and I'm thinking, I better get used to that one then. And then Scotty McDonald, I remember linking up with Scotty, and I thought, you're a player.
He flicks in the corner and...
Scotty out my game so much, and I still speak to a number of the lads now.
What did he help with? Just weird tips here and there?
Yeah, Scotty was a strange one because I think the majority of players that played with him would say he was a nightmare to play with, but not for me. He was brilliant with me. And he never shouted at me. I don't know why that is. I don't know why, because he liked me, I don't know.
Probably seen something in you.
Yeah, he might have seen something in me, I don't know. And I think he respected that I respected him. I would never backchat to him, and that's just what I'm like. And he was always trying to help me. I think it's because we were so close together and we played two up top. And I think we were on the same wavelength quite often.
What about McFadden? He's a hero at Motherwell.
He was a joke. He was a joke. I think he was, when I first came, he wasn't registered as a player. I think he was trying to go to the MLS.
Right.
So he was just coming in every now and again and training and what have you. They had to tell him to stop training because he was taking the mick out of us. I'm not lying to you. He was walking past us, but Ferry wasn't rapid, wasn't quick, but he'd use his body in a way that I've never seen anyone use a body, and I couldn't get the ball off him. Protect the ball he'd just score from anywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my God. I remember my first couple of days, I went to one of the lads and went, who's that? Because I watched him train, I went, who's that? Because I didn't recognise him, and I thought, he's like, James. I was like, what? I was like, is he signing? I was thinking, I'm never going to get a game here. That weren't in the contract. Well, thankfully, he didn't sign until quite late on.
But not just ability-wise, but are they players more demanding on you in training and games?
Yeah. They've got a culture of winning. They've got a winning mentality, even in training. always used to do old v young, and I was obviously on the young side, and I was trying to rally our young lads to try and beat them, and we never really beat them up until probably my last year or my second year. We started to beat them then, because Laz was getting older and Mick was getting older.
But their mentality probably rubbed off on you so much that you took that into the games as well.
Yeah. I think the younger lads started to get more confident, and the older lads' legs were going, thankfully.
And would they hate that you were beating them?
Yeah, hated it. Scotty would throw his toys out the pram. Oh, he'd hate it.
Would there ever be
he'd hate it.
rolling about?
Just going mad. Effing and blinding.
Brilliant. You finished top scorer in your first season. When did it start to really click for you?
I think as soon as I got a run of games, I think that's really important to play, have a run of games at it. And belief more than anything. I remember I didn't score in my first 2. I think I scored in my 3rd. St Johnstone away was my first goal. Got a tap in. And the belief from everyone, the fans, the management, the players I was playing with, everyone around the club kind of believed in me. And it gave me like a confidence boost, really. And I thought, I'm going to score. I just knew I was going to score, and I knew it was going to work. As soon as I was playing, and I worked hard, and I carried on to work hard, I just knew it was going to click.
I've heard you talking about the club and how much you love the club and the fans. Was there a lot of help for you when you were saying you were unsettled? And
yeah, that's the one thing that goes a long way, and people don't realise. Karen, the second, she works in the office, and Karen's unbelievable. For any new person that comes into that club, instantly, Karen's the one to go to. She'll find your house. She'll just look after your missus. My missus got flowers when the baby was born. Little things like that go a long way.
And it goes unnoticed as well.
It goes unnoticed. But everyone at that football club, the kit man Aldo, everyone in that backroom staff, everyone around the stadium is just unbelievable towards you. And when I was English coming up to Scotland, it was quite daunting. Like, I didn't know what to expect. But all these people were so friendly towards me, and they were so keen to get me settled. It just meant a great deal to myself, and I felt like I had to repay them.
That stuff goes just as long a way as the football side of things as well, doesn't it?
I think also away from Motherwell, the area I was living in, I loved it. I think coming into Glasgow and Edinburgh, and everyone I spoke to was so friendly. I've never had a bad word to say about anyone up here, and I still say it now. I mean, I'm up here visiting now, and I just love the place. And before I come here, I'd never been here. It's crazy.
I'll take you a few places that you'll know enjoying it. You finished the top 6 your first year. Next season was a bit of a relegation battle.
Yeah.
What changed?
I don't know, really. It was a strange one. I think, did we get a little bit too comfortable, maybe? I think Mark McGee, we stopped. It was a strange one. We stopped doing the running and stuff like that because he felt as though when he first came in, he needed to stamp his authority and we needed to fear Mark McGee. That's how he went about his business, and I think it worked. But then the season after, we were all very, very, very friendly with him.
Too comfortable, maybe?
Maybe too comfortable. I mean, I don't know whether that affected the performances on the pitch. I'm not sure. I remember at the time, thinking when we finished in the top 6, we found a way of playing. It was 4-3-3, me, Scotty, Marvin Johnson up front. And he used to say to us three, go anywhere. As long as you recover in one of your slots, doesn't matter if Louis on the right, Scotty's on the left, Marv's up front, you three go anywhere. You will win the game for us. But when you haven't got the ball, get back in. And then the following season, Marv got sold, so that killed that one. We couldn't find a way of playing. We just couldn't. One week we'd play 3 at the back, the next we'd play 4-4-2, the next we'd play 4-3-3. We just could not get in a rhythm. And I think that was partly down to injuries, and Marv got sold and we never really got a replacement.
Is that tough when you're at a club like Motherwell, when you lose a good player and you didn't have the resources to bring another one in?
Yeah, very, very. We couldn't replace him, and he did so well, and he assisted a lot of my goals. And I remember a lot of people saying, you're not going to score as many goals now. Marvin's gone. I scored more, actually. I've said that to him since. I still speak to him.
Brilliant. So when did you see the writing on the wall for Mark McGee? When did you think his time was up? Did you know it was coming?
I don't know, really. I think the Aberdeen one where I think we lost 7-2. It was not nice, and then he got sent to the stands and what have you.
And he was flipping with that fan.
I think he lost his head a little bit, didn't he? I think the writing was on the wall as soon as that happened, really.
Could he go off his nut as well, Mark McGee?
Yeah,
Yeah, scary guy.
He was a strange one because to the public, very stone-faced, very aggressive, very hard man. In the changing room, yeah, he did it a few times, don't get me wrong, but he also had a very, very clever approach, very good man management, very, very clever in what he did and how he got his point across.
Good. Okay, Stephen Robertson was already there as a coach. Did the boys think he had any chance of getting a job?
Robbo was a coach under Ian Barraclough and then went to Oldham as a gaffer. And then did we not have an assistant manager for a while or something? Faddy got it, didn't he?
Faddy, that was it.
Faddy got it. So Faddy got it, and then I remember the boys, because Mark McGee's not one for doing possessions and passing drills. Mark McGee's an old school manager who will do boxes and games, boxes and games, boxes and games. That's what it was probably like in his time. Football's moved on a little bit. Players like to do a little bit different now. And one thing with Stephen Robertson, he can put on a very, very good session. He's very
coaching good,
yeah,
is it?
very good coach. Attention to detail, really good. Where Mark McGee was more of a Saturday manager. He was more of a, this is how we're going to play. This is how we're going to beat them. Where Stephen Robertson was doing that in the week, Mark McGee would do it on a Friday and a Saturday. So some of the boys, I remember calling for Robbo to come back because he'd left Oldham. And I remember some of the lads were trying to get him back in and to coach. And there was a bit of conflict at the time between the players and Mark McGee because the players are obviously disrespecting Mark McGee by saying they wanted Robbo to come back. But eventually he came back. And I actually think the results started to pick up because, it was back to how we were working before. Stephen Robertson was doing a lot of the coaching. Mark McGee was stepping in when he needed to get his points across. And I felt that's the best way it worked.
So Stephen Robinson, a tiny coach that wants to make you better as well, not just about the results on a Saturday, he wants to make you a better player.
Yeah, exactly that. And I find that in football quite strange that doesn't happen enough. That was one of the good things when I came to Scotland with Stephen Robinson being here. He was still trying to progress me as a player. And I always felt there's quite a lot of managers now that just don't try and develop you. They just want you to just carry on the way you're doing. And as a player, you want to just keep developing. And I think that's what he does well.
So were the boys happy when he got the job, the manager's job?
Yeah, I think he was caretaker for a couple of games and did well. I think we beat Kilmarnock. I wanted him to get the job, that's for sure. I was calling him to get the job because he was very organised, new. I think, like I touched on before, we were not sure of how to play, like whether we were playing short, whether we were going long, what formation we were playing. We weren't sure. Robinson came in and he put all that to bed. We're playing 3-5-2. We're playing off the strikers. That's how we're going to win. And that was successful for us.
In a relegation fight at that time, so you needed a style of play, but unless you're the best lad in the world, there's no way you knew anything about the Lanarkshire derbies, did you?
Well, no, I didn't know up until I came up here. And
could you believe how intense they were?
No. I remember the first couple, and the talk was in the papers, and lads would go off in the changing room and said for far too long they've got the run over us because I think they were beating Motherwell quite often, and we never beat them in 7 or something like that. And then I was thinking, there can't be much in this, and then we ended up playing them. I think we beat them, and then when I was up here, the record against them was really, really good, and it was a strange one. But the tempo of the game, there weren't much football played, that's for sure.
So Laz was a player, and it was him who did he bring everyone together and said, "You need to start winning these derbies."
Yeah, Laz,
Is that the type of captain Laz was?
Exactly that. That's exactly when I realised how big of a derby it was. When all the boys started going on it, and Laz and the manager was, saying things like that. And then I seen our fan base, because I think it was at Hamilton, the first one, and we had more fans than them. And I was thinking, wow, this is real, this. And the atmosphere is brilliant.
Proper derby. Yeah. What was your favourite one to play in? You got one that stands out?
Well, when I scored 4, that's up there. That's got to be up there on a personal note. But I've got to say that just for personal, but the one that always sticks in my mind is we were 1-0 down, we had 10 men, and I scored last minute and we drew 1-1. And it felt like a win. It was unbelievable. Did a knee slide on AstroTurf, and my knees were hanging off for weeks. But that was the one that it just pumped everyone up. And I think it was a must win or we needed a point, we needed something because we were struggling.
Brilliant. Top scorer again that year. There must have been clubs sniffing about in the summer.
Yeah, never. I think if you get caught up on people watching, and I think you start playing terrible. I honestly do. I think if you start thinking about who's watching, who's in the crowd, you start trying to try too hard, and it just wasn't working. I just tried to put it to the back of my mind.
But was there clubs interested?
My agent would tell me things if I asked him, but if I didn't ask him, he wouldn't tell me.
So were you not looking to get a move at that stage? Did you feel like you still had development to do at Motherwell?
I just wanted to carry on enjoying my football, and that's what Motherwell allowed me to do.
Just on the derbies and obviously the relegation battle that we spoke about, who was the guys that you can rely on in the derbies that would always show up and the guys, was Laz?
Yeah, the older boys, they were so passionate about it, and that rubbed off on all us, if I'm honest. I remember the relegation one that we had to win, I think it was, because it was the second from last game of the season. And I scored with my shoulder. I tried to head it and it just hit my shoulder and went in. And that was a must-win game. That was up there with one of the best results against them. But them older boys just like in the changing room before the games and just got us so riled up for them games. It was brilliant.
Great. On to the cup finals. League Cup final, semi-final against Rangers. Do you fancy yourself going into it?
Yeah, did, yeah.
Did you fancy it? Almost fancy yourselves, yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I think because they writ us off so much, and I think that helped us. I don't know whether they writ us off as Rangers themselves, but the press did, that's for sure. We had pin-ups in our dressing rooms of what the papers were saying. I think it was...
Really? So that happened?
Yeah, it happened. I think there was something out there that the Audi was selling. They were advertising Celtic Rangers final. I'm sure that was one of the things. And we caught wind of that, and we had it up in the dressing room. No one had to say anything because you'd come in your morning and you'd look at that and you go, "Oh my God!" Like we were like that.
Couldn't kind of wait.
We just couldn't wait for the game.
You seemed like you were up for the game.
Oh,
see that physical side of you? Was that a tactic?
We never said we're going to do this, do that. We knew what we were, and I touched on that earlier, where we didn't know what we were previously. The gaffer came in and realised what we were good at, and we stuck to that. Simple as that.
Getting in people's faces, but that's football, isn't it? People, I always hear people saying about Motherwell they're too physical, but football is physical.
Football's it's a contact sport.
If they've got better players than you need to find a way to beat them.
Exactly.
And that was Stephen Robinson's way.
Well, we were never going to outplay them. We weren't better individuals as them, so we've got to find a way of beating them our way and what we're good at. If they tried to go long like we would, they would lose.
Yeah.
But their way of playing was playing, and we couldn't match them, so we had to find another way.
But second goal, absolute worldie. Is that your favourite goal?
It's got to be up there, yeah. It probably is.
Talk us through it. See the ball coming.
Well, at that point, I already scored one, and I think it's the last 10, 15 minutes of the game, and my legs had gone. Ball's gone over the top, and I'm thinking, my legs have gone here. Let's just hit this.
So is that really it?
I didn't have time to think. I don't know. I just had an instinct, and I just hit it. I had a little glance and I seen him off his line. I could not have contacted that ball any better. If I tried that 10 more times, one would go in at the best.
Sweet, wasn't it?
Oh, sweet as a nut. And the sound around the place, and it was like you could hear a pin drop when that ball's travelling over. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that moment. The one I scored against Celtic's probably technically better.
That was the inside one.
Yeah, and people always say your Rangers one was better. I always say technically, I think the Celtic one was better. That's probably harder to do.
Just on the final whistle goes, how was that feeling knowing that you were in a cup final?
Ridiculous. That is a feeling I cannot describe. Ridiculous.
How was the dressing room in the afternoon?
Oh, buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. I remember the kit man coming in and just going mental. And the kit man doesn't do that. And that's the first time I've ever seen him swear.
Brilliant. Your form that year, 14 goals in the first half of the season. You must have been so confident, eh?
Yeah, I was. I don't know what it was. I was just... I don't know, really. I mean, I was injured at the start of the season. I remember the first game I come back, and it was at Hampden, and I scored a free kick. And I'd not trained, I'd not done a pre-season or anything, and I'd just come on and scored a free kick. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't know I could take free kicks. That's just flew in the top bin.
Is that just confidence then?
Yeah, confidence. That's all it is. I didn't practice them. I scored 1 or 2 at Wrexham, but Scotty was on them. But Scotty went at this point, and Scotty wouldn't let me have them. I got pens off him. I didn't have free kicks off him. And then no one else kind of stepped up, and I thought, I'm going to be the free kick taker here. And I came on, scored. I went, oh, I could take a free kick.
Buzzing.
The week after, happened again. Played Moult at home, and again I was on the bench because I had just come back from a hernia operation. Come on, scored a free kick. I was like, oh my days, is it like this every week?
How good does that feel when anything you touch turns to goal?
It was crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. And every game I was playing in, the night before, I always think about the game the night before, and I was thinking, I'm going to score tomorrow. And the night before the semi, everyone kept coming, like all the lads kept coming up to me saying, written in the stars. I went, what do you mean? He says, written in the stars. You're going to score. You go, well, we'll win the game. You'll score. And as a player, I'm thinking, I don't want to put any pressure on me here. I'm not saying a word. I didn't say a word. I just smiled. But myself, personally, the night before, I scored 2 and we won.
The old positive thinking,
yeah, exactly.
Into the final, were you confident going against Celtic? Because they were flying at the time, weren't they?
They were flying, yeah. We knew how hard it was going to be.
How do you prepare for a game like that? Is there a lot of tactics, a lot of shape?
A lot of tactics. Yeah. Again, you've got to try and find a way of beating them. We found a way of beating Rangers in that manner. Was it good enough for Celtic? Probably not. I think they were very, very good on the day. We had a bit of hard luck with a sending off, I think. I'd have liked to see how that game would have gone if we would have had 11 men on the pitch.
Could you run them close a few times that season, didn't you? Gave them good games.
4-3. I think it was the season before the 4-3, or it might have been that season. But even in that game, I think I nearly scored a header. Craig Gordon made an unbelievable save. And then Cedric gets sent off and then the game's gone.
You think it was a sending off?
Harsh. Very harsh.
Yeah. Okay. Despite the loss, cup final must have been a special experience.
Yeah, very special experience. It was a horrible feeling though after. Very horrible feeling. I remember the buzz from the semi, and I remember in the changing room we were all saying, let's try and get that buzz again. Remember that feeling. But yeah, you just couldn't replicate that. I think because everyone writ us off in that semi and we managed to beat them, and personally scoring them goals, you know, to top that would have had to be beating Celtic, and it just didn't happen. Is
that maybe your one regret for Motherwell that you never won one of the cups?
Yeah, massively, yeah.
Done great though. In the January you were heavily linked to Rangers. Did you fancy that move?
Yeah, it was a strange one because there was rumours here, there and everywhere, and I'm on social media and I read stuff and what have you. And it was just flattering really. I was buzzing, you know, big club like that wanted me. I was buzzing. I was thinking, you know,
how much am I going to get?
Let's see what happens. But you know, nothing ever come of it. You know, I believe there was interest. But I believe there was interest of a number of clubs in the SPL as well as down south. And it just shows to be. I ended up at Preston.
Do you just get to a stage where you think financially for my family I need to move on now? Yeah,
I think. In this career, you've got to try and earn the amount of money as possible as you can, just because it's such a short career. If I was single and I was on my own, I probably wouldn't care about that. But I need to feed my kids. I need to pay my mortgage. You know, that's the life we live in.
So why Preston then? What was it about Preston that you liked?
To be fair to Alex Neil, he was quite thorough. He sounded like he really wanted me. Spoke to him a number of times on the phone, and he expressed, you know, how, you know, he was there at Hampden both times. He'd come up to Motherwell, watch me. You know, he's shown a real interest in me, and I thought that, you know, fair play to him. He's travelling up. You know, he has got family up here, but you know, he was showing a real interest and he was making the effort. So you know, it ended up being Preston.
Mate, I've absolutely loved listening to it. It's been brilliant. I just want to know, after football, what we're thinking, because you seem like you've got a good head on your shoulders. Coaching,
yeah,
coaching.
Managing. Yeah, I'm trying to do. I've done my B licence. I want to try and do a few coaching badges. You know, probably not yet. Probably in a year or two. So that's something I'm quite keen on doing.
And just finally, sum up your time at Motherwell for us.
Well, you know, Motherwell was fantastic for me personally. and my family, my kids, Lily, who's 1, was born up here. Isla come up here at 6 months, and you know she's 4 now. So they've lived in Scotland more than England. I absolutely love Scotland. You know, maybe I'll be back up in the SPL again. You know, we'll see. But really enjoyed Motherwell and Scotland.
But a steel man for life.
Well, you know, they were fantastic towards me, and I love the club. Simple as.
Mate, pleasure. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.